What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm live stream. I'm your host, Howard Bender. It's time to continue meeting the family. That's right. Every day we kind of cruise through and get a chance to take an inside look into who we've got at the Fantasy Alarm, and it gives me great pleasure to bring in our Meet the Family guest today, who is somewhere secluded in a reptile pit, apparently. So that I guess he doesn't have to do any diaper changing today. But my main man, James Babyface Grande. What's up, dude? First of all, how the hell are you holding up through this? Because you've had life-changing stuff all over the place now.
Yeah, I mean, first off, thanks for having me, Howard. Great to be here. And I mean, it's been interesting. I'm happy that Orion was born when he was prior to now. I wouldn't want to be going through that, and I feel a lot of people's, pain, giving birth through these tough times. So I am happy that Bree and I were fortunate enough to give birth early in February. I do have the crocodile pit behind me. Bree won't be able to get into the room. She won't be able to breach the security that I brought in since the coronavirus because, this diaper changing thing for this next hour is, off limits. So I did crawl in the cavalry behind me to avoid the diaper changes for the next hour.
And listen, you know what? And I can understand this. I have a sister who is about 7.5 years younger than me. So when I was growing up, to help mom change the diapers, but I mean, I can't even imagine it right now. So, I mean, let's just dive in here. How bad is it? Because I got to tell you, man, from all the stories I've heard from parents, I mean, aside from the no sleep and everything, I'm just talking about just the diaper itself. Multicolored, weird consistencies, the smell of all smells. Like, really?
I mean, okay, so it's definitely not great, but I think it's it's not bad right now. I've been fortunate enough to avoid getting peed on, pooped on so far. Yes, during the diaper change,
yeah, a little something right there. You might want to double check.
Excuse me. During the diaper changes, I have my hand may have slipped. And it's touched base with some of the contents in the diaper, but I mean, it hasn't been bad. It was very weird at first because it was coming out kind of a black coloring, and I was very confused. I was very concerned. And even after the doctors warned us, like, hey, his poop might come out black at first, I saw it and I was shook. I kind of froze in my tracks. I didn't really know what was going on. I wanted to call the doctor right away, but it's not that bad. I mean, I feel like you get so used to it so fast that it's just kind of like, oh, like he smells really bad. He needs a new diaper. It's quick. It's easy. The ones that are a little weird are when it starts going up the back and it sneaks out the diaper and then it sneaks out. Then I'm like, that's, not my favorite, but, it's been okay. And I'm happy to do it. This has been an amazing, life-changing, event. And I wouldn't change anything for the world. Even the diaper changes, Howard. And maybe I'm just saying that because I haven't been pooped and peed on like Bree has.
No, listen. I mean, I'm busting balls here because that's just what I do. And as a non-breeder, I get that, that extra laugh. But I mean, listen, obviously life-changing, and really want to give you like a heartfelt congratulations on the birth of your son. If you guys are just joining, Babyface has his own baby face. Orion Grande is like a month and 3 days old now?
We're approaching 2 months. On the 10th of next month, we'll be 2 months old. Yeah. So really? It's kind of getting, you really don't realize it when they say they grow up fast. And he's not growing that much, but I mean, he's already almost 2 months. It really is as true as they tell you it is.
Well, hopefully at some point your darling girl Bree will bring Orion over to see us, maybe, and just hover him over the alligator pit, right? Didn't Michael Jackson hold his kid out a window at some point? So maybe Bree will dazzle us with an Orion appearance and at the alligator pit, and we'll be able to check him out. Now, how about everything else? Because, I mean, let's face it. I mean, obviously, you've got a great distraction here with your son. I mean, that's, beautiful. Now, our poor producer, Matt Sells, different story. He's got kids to homeschool, so it's a little bit more work, I would say, kind of wrangling them up and teaching and whatnot. But, like, how are you getting through with the no sports? Because obviously the kid's going to sleep a ton. And, I mean, what are you doing with yourself to kind of keep busy?
I mean, it's obviously been awful. And I'm not, me and you and everyone else across the world don't know what to do. We're just twiddling our thumbs left and right. And I get it. I mean, I'm still working my other job. I'm considered a responder, in a medical responder, I guess, so to speak, with working at UPS. And so I've still been going to work every morning. So that's obviously taking up a chunk of my day. And then it's, Howard, it is what it is. I'm just spending so much time with Bree and Orion. It's been tremendous. I've loved every second of it. We've watched a lot of news, just strictly based on the coronavirus. I've been more concerned about the virus considering the type of area I'm in. I'm right outside of Orlando, and Orlando is a very big touristy spot, and whether or not Disney and all these places close down, tourists are everywhere in Orlando, and it has seemingly been in my brain like it's only a matter of time before Florida starts trending upwards like New York is, and places like that. Like we see in Louisiana, there's New Orleans where a lot of people go for Mardi Gras and so on. So like that's been really on my mind. So I've definitely been taking the whole quarantine thing very seriously outside of work. It's just been, Netflix and chill. It's been Orion and chill. It's been, but honestly, it's been a nice distancing, just spending time with them, and I can't wait for sports to come back. But it's couldn't have, honestly, if there was a situation where the sports world is just essentially shut down, no better time in the world for me personally, with the birth of my son and welcoming him into the world and just getting used to being a dad on a day-to-day.
Yeah, it's actually, you know what? I mean, it is. It's like you're sort of taking like a paternity leave almost. I mean, obviously as a responder, as somebody who has to handle dealing with delivering medical supplies and making sure that all happens. I mean, it's awesome that you do that. And, obviously you're putting yourself at risk, and we obviously appreciate all of that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if there was like a time for a sports shutdown for you personally in your life, the birth of your son is yeah, right. Now, how come? What happened to the baby pools that we were supposed to be running at Fantasy Alarm? Like, I saw no squares. I saw no birth time pools, no birth weight pools. Nothing like it. What happened to all of that stuff?
Now, I guess the question is the dad or the parents in charge of that, or is there supposed to be a second member, like a team member that pulls this together? We saw Pete Rose got banned from gambling on sports. I'm not going to gamble on my own son. So I thought, you were the one who brought up the idea. Maybe we would, you would be the leader in the clubhouse, so to speak, in getting this together. I'm just throwing it out there, but I mean, for the next child, if we are fortunate enough to have one, maybe we'll a second baby-faced baby. Maybe we'll gather up a pool for he or she.
Well, I think I'm just going to have to just start delegating it. I kind of figured this was something like right up in Pemba or Malin's like alley. Like I thought one of those two guys was sure to do something like that, but neither one of them did it. So I'll assign it next time, and it doesn't even have to be your second child. Take a break, man. Seriously,
all right,
give yourself some time here.
We are.
Make sure that you like having one before you even just think about two. Seriously, and be very, very careful on Orion's first birthday. I'm just going to warn you right now. You're going to have all these people over. Everybody's going to be getting a little tipsy, and the next thing you know, boom, you've got a kid conceived on Orion's first birthday. That's how it happened with me. That was it. My mom, couple of black Russians, legs up in the air, first birthday for my brother. And there you go. My dad finally took advantage of it. So I'm just warning you.
I mean, congrats. We're happy to have you here. So, big shouts big shouts to mom and dad for showing your brother some love and on his special day.
Oh, man. So let's talk a little bit about you. Let's get a little background on who James Grande is. Now, let's start off with where you're from, and the big question that I'm asking everybody, really, not just so much how you got into fantasy sports, is it how much was sports like an active part of your life as you were growing up? Was it Little League? Was it, Pee Wee football? What did you do as far as growing up, and how active, how big was sports a part of your life?
So first, I'm from New York. Westchester County, New York is where I grew up. I moved down to Florida, right outside of Orlando, as I mentioned, about it's going on 4 years in October. So we've been down here for a little bit. I went to college before dropping out. I went to the University of Albany. Shouts to Ryan Hallam. I heard he also went to University of Albany. I believe I heard that on yesterday's stream or the day prior.
Go Great Danes!
Go Great Danes! The best. Yes, the Great Danes. I'm so thankful to be a Great Dane. UA, for all those that do know. But yeah, I mean, sports were everything. I think for me as a youth, just from Little League to recreational basketball. I played a lot of CYO basketball, Christian youth. I wasn't even, or a Catholic. I wasn't even very religious, but I mean, it was another form of basketball, a travel league, so to speak. And it was so much. It was, the recreational leagues are competitive to a point. But when you want to take that next level, you go play travel, and there's a step up in competition. And that was, I enjoyed the hell out of that. So basically growing up, I played all baseball, basketball. I started getting into golf about middle school, but unfortunately in New York, baseball and golf seasons are during the same time. So it was always baseball over golf. My grandfather had season tickets to the Yankees up until the first season at the new stadium. He had his season tickets. And then obviously a gajillion dollars later, he was like, all right, I can't, why are we paying this? Because, the new Yankee Stadium became a business casual more than sports aficionado stadium, which I've always been very salty about. The RIP to the old stadium. That was the mecca of, honestly, I would go out on a limb and say sports, but that's coming from a Yankees fan, so I'm sure others have differing opinions. But I mean, spent days and nights at Yankee Stadium my whole childhood. The seats were pretty good. My grandfather had a very good paying job, and they were very good, and it was great to see all the players like 20, 30, 50 feet away from the dugout. So I mean, I've been around sports my whole life. My dad played baseball, basketball, football. So I grew up, he had D1 offers to play basketball. So, I mean, it was just growing up. That's like what I knew. I knew sports. I still don't know much else about the world other than sports. So like, here we are 27 years later, and my world still kind of revolves around the same thing it revolved around when I was in diapers, Howard. So, yeah, I mean, T-ball, it dates back to the start of everything. Sports holds a special place in my heart, and I don't see that changing to the day I die.
I'm just trying to do the math in my head, and I think I almost had an aneurysm. It smells like burnt toast in here now all of a sudden. So 27 years later, so like, how old were you when you have like your first memory of like being at the game?
I mean, I remember. So my grandfather, we actually knew a security guard that spent a lot of time in the dugout of Yankee Stadium. So, we would give him a call and say, hey, we're coming down today. Can you get us down? There's like a little gated section right next to the dugout. And we would go down there, and I mean, Torrey was managing. So, think about when that was. I mean,
so this was late 90s.
Late 90s. Yeah, late 90s. And we would go down there, and we'd, like little kids, just yell out players' names with no, just blabber, just whatever came to our our heads, and we would just. I guess I don't necessarily remember like the first moment. I'm like, wow. I do remember what I fell in love with basketball when the Nets used to be in New Jersey. They used to play at the Izod Center, and that was in the same as the Meadowlands. So it was like Rutgers football had its stadium. The Izod Center was for the Nets, and then the Giants and the Jets played at Giant Stadium. And I do remember, and this is kind of how I became a Bulls fan, and people always are like, how the hell did you become a Bulls fan? You're from New York. You have no ties to Chicago. But, I mean, I was 5 or 6. I mean, it was, and, you know, my dad took me to like 3 Nets games, and they happened to be Chicago every time. And Jordan was there, Pippen, I mean, the whole crew. And, I mean, when you watch something like that, it's like watching Mike Trout play baseball. It's like watching, you know, LeBron play basketball now. It's just something that it just entrenched in your brain forever. It gives you chills when you watch it. Like, so that's how I became a Bulls fan specifically. Like going to the Izod Center like 3 times. And
well, what are you going to do? Get a Keith Van Horn jersey from the Nets?
Kerry Kittles. Kerry Kittles, a big Kerry Kittles.
Oh, guy. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it was between Kittles and Jordan, and, you know, I was leaning Kittles, but my dad was like, my dad talked me off that ledge pretty fast. And then, you know, and that's just kind of how it happened for basketball. And, you know, again, it's just like, I'm getting chills thinking back to the Izod Center, seeing Jordan. Because, like, again, I was 5 or 6, and what do you actually remember when you're 5 or 6? But it's just, that's kind of what sports can do for you, you know? Like, some people have music in that retrospect. Some people have other things that they relate to. Like, sports memories are what, you know, us sports fanatics, you know, gives chills running down our spine. And that's, you know, Jordan in the Izod Center does that for me.
Well, so now here we are. It's late 90s, early 2000s, turn of the century, right, as James Grande is growing up. So as an impressionable young child, Yankees are winning. Love it. Got to root for them. The Bulls, much better to root for than your local Nets. And well, let's face it, the Knicks suck too. You're a Giants fan for football.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, again, when did they win was it they lost to the Ravens in 2001?
Yep.
I think, but they were still there. So all right, so respectable there with the Giants. Good bunch of guys there, Strahan, that whole crew. I can get behind that. Do you have a hockey affiliation?
No, I've honestly just never been a hockey guy. If I was to pick a 4th sport, it would 100% be boxing. I love everything about the sport of boxing. It's been more of a recent, like over the last 3 or 4 years, I've loved everything about the sport other than how corrupt it is. Because if you take out the fact that it's corrupt, it is so pure and beautiful. But the thing about boxing is, and what's always going to, you know, the red flag is always going to be how corrupt and how, you know, fixed it truly is. Because you watch, we could be watching the same thing, think the same exact thing. This guy clearly won, and, you know, 3 judges who might have been paid on the table think the other way. So I truly love boxing and everything about it other than that. So if I don't necessarily care for hockey that much, never have. I don't dislike the sport. It's always been during basketball season, and I've always put like 100% of my time to basketball during that part of the year. So it's never been like my thing, but if I were to select another sport, definitely boxing.
See, and I'm intrigued by that. I really am. Because, see, for me, like growing up, I mean, it was Hagler Hearns and Hagler Leonard. You know, those guys were at the top of their game. The heavyweight division was actually like a legit heavyweight division. And I mean, you know, Mike Tyson just changed the face of that completely. And when he got knocked out by Buster Douglas, then all of a sudden it was like the heavyweight division just seemed to crumble. Guys like Shannon Briggs or, I'm trying to think of who else was there at that point. Shannon Briggs was there.
Lennox Lewis was Holyfield was around that time. I mean, it's definitely has never gotten back to that point, Howard, and that's the unfortunate part, because everyone knows the heavyweight division is where all the money is. When heavyweights are going well, that's when boxing is interesting. I mean, think about just recently Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. I mean, I mean, not that like every person in America was like, wow, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder is huge, but definitely more a massive promotion put forth between ESPN and
what makes you say that? Maybe it was his outfit coming to the ring.
That is
made him look like a cross between like a Decepticon and a samurai warrior. I had no idea what was going on with that.
I mean, I think it would have been cool if he just didn't come out with the excuse that was why he lost. It looked pretty badass, and then there's a special appearance.
Oh, are we gonna get the hover?
We gotta get the crocodiles out of the way. Hold on. That I don't think I'm gonna be moving the crocodiles, but we do have a baby. We can raise him up like Simba. I'll start playing.
No.
I'll start. Slovenia. This is my lovely boy Orion.
For all eyes open too.
Look at that, buddy. You see the camera?
Look at that, the camera? Buddy. Yeah, look at that. Right by the live set. Hold him a little bit lower there so we get the dot that says live out of the poor kid's eye.
He's right in the live.
Look at him. Look at him. He's adorable.
Just like his dad.
See, can we get like a new baby smell here? Can I just like lean in and just
I was getting the new baby smell. Hey, buddy. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, buddy. A big thank to Bree for bringing Orion in. Appreciate that. Look at that.
Hey.
He is 100% adorable. I'm so happy for you guys, man. Really. Thank you. And thank you so much for having him live at the alligator.
But he was being held up, as you can see. No, I'm sure, hopefully she wasn't watching when you compared her to Michael Jackson. That would have been, probably a negative one.
I wasn't comparing her to Michael Jackson.
Well, the act of holding babies. Yeah. Oh.
Jeez. Don't get me in trouble with your wife, dude. No, sir. Nah, brah.
Oh, it's been a little while. I'm got the twitch, not saying nah, brah in a while, Howard. Little,
Believe me, we're all getting the twitch with you guys not being on with us right now. We're gonna have to find some creative ways. You know what? Today, actually, it was really funny. What you guys will see on the Fantasy Alarm show, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern, is that Jim and I are playing a game today called Fragrant Friday, where we get to name our top 3 smells.
Like ever? Of anything there is?
Top 3 smells? I mean, I could preview mine. I don't want to give it away, but I'll give you one. You ready?
I would say give me number 3. Don't give us number 1, but definitely give us,
It's got to be puppy breath.
Puppy breath is puppy breath. I love puppy feet. I will throw puppy feet out there.
Sure, but that's not a smell. Puppy breath.
No, puppy feet smells like popcorn. Like it has like a little popcorn scent. And like, what's better than like puppies and popcorn? And like, you're not giving them the popcorn, so they're not getting chunky. They're staying fit, but their feet. I mean, listen. Maybe it's just my puppies that their feet smell like popcorn, but I agree. Puppy breath is amazing. I mean,
I'm you know what? I'm already gonna copyright popcorn right now.
Popcorn. Let's take it to the bank. Bring me in.
I'm going to the Yankee Candle people right now. I'm gonna be like, I want a Yankee Candle that smells like popcorn.
Guaranteed they'd sell out in minutes.
In minutes. All right, let's get back to business here. Well, I mean, not that this is business. This is more pleasure. But I'm still on the boxing kick. So who are your favorite boxers right now?
Favorite boxers right now. I really have like grown up with Gennady Golovkin, Triple G. I love Triple G. I love all the knockouts. It's been great. And I love how feared he is. And how like innocent he is, and then he's like, I am going to beat you up. Like, he just lets you know, like, he's going to beat you up if you fight him, and that's been the trend of his whole career. I'm very salty at that first Triple G Canelo fight. I do not think the right decision of a draw was made. But again, Canelo is the face of boxing. He's the one who got $365 million from DAZN to be the face of boxing. And, you know, Oscar De La Hoya is his right-hand man. He's not going to let him lose. There's no way Oscar's going to ever let him lose. So I love Triple G. I love Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford has been great at 135. He's been great at 140. Now he's dominating at 147. The guy is tremendous. He can fight on both his right hand, left hand, and he's elite at doing both. I love Vasily Lomachenko. Recently, I've grown to like Vasily Lomachenko. Listen, Howard, it's hard not to like the elite guys. You know, Tyson Fury is a lot of fun to watch as a heavyweight. Not a lot of. He's crazy. He's absolutely out of his mind. Very, very well spoken though. If you listen to Tyson Fury, we don't know if he's actually telling the truth when he speaks half the time. He seems like a habitual liar, but he's very well spoken, and he's very interesting to say the least. I loved watching Floyd Mayweather box. I didn't like Floyd Mayweather the person very much, but Floyd Mayweather the boxer was obviously as good as it gets in terms of defensive to offensive fighting. Nobody could hit the guy. Canelo, who's the face of boxing, you ever go back and watch the Mayweather-Canelo fight when, you know, Canelo was still coming up and he was going to be the next big thing, probably a couple years away from actually competing against Mayweather. He missed every time he threw at Floyd, and it was crazy to watch. Who else? I love Mikey Garcia, who we just recently saw fight. He's fighting at 147 now, probably a little too small for the division. But I love Mikey Garcia. Those are like probably my guys right now. All pretty big names in terms of boxing. I have a up-and-comer, though, Virgil Ortiz, who was just actually rated the prospect of the year in 2019. I think I've been speaking, one of my friends and I speak literally every week, or when there was boxing, about upcoming fights and whatnot. And Virgil Ortiz, I told him I think is going to be arguably a top 3 pound for pound fighter in the next 3 years. And he fights in 147, which is the coveted division in boxing right now. That's where the money is. That's where, you know, Canelo started, and Floyd has spent most of his career too. And that's kind of why 147 is as big as it is. But yeah, Virgil Ortiz he knocks literally everyone out. He throws punches with terrible intentions. I won't even say bad intentions there. They are just deadly, and it's every punch, and he has great endurance. And I mean, he's literally knocked out all 20 opponents he's faced, or 15 opponents, that he's faced. And that's my guy coming to the neck. That's going to take the next step this year. And if there's even going to be boxing this year, we can't even confirm when that's even going to take place. But in the upcoming years, boxing's next superstar, Virgil Ortiz.
Now, we don't have, or is there, fantasy boxing, DFS boxing?
Nope.
I think we need to kind of create a little bit of a scoring format. Punches thrown, punches landed. You could probably do different scoring for jabs, hooks, uppercuts, things like that, knockouts. I'm feeling like with all of this time in between diaper changes that you should be maybe, you know, setting up a little DFS scoring here.
So it's funny you say that, because I've on multiple occasions actually messaged DraftKings about implementing boxing to, I mean, Howard, if you think about it, the scoring is slightly different from MMA, but they have the infrastructure in place with MMA. It just needs to be adjusted. Obviously, there's no takedowns of boxing, but we can just combat that with something different, like you just said. Uppercuts or hooks, or I mean, there's plenty of things you can change. Now, I guess like it's way more fixed. So I think, you know, DraftKings would be worried because how many people would continue to play boxing long term but again,
dude, come on. I mean, they do. Listen, right. I mean, come on. All right. Every sport, first of all, has some semblance of fixing going on here.
But do you think to the extent that boxing has, I mean, I think that's why boxing has taken the back seat, because it's been horrible.
People are looking to do like DFS WrestleMania.
True.
Come on.
That's true.
Like, that's even more scripted.
That's true. And I mean, look, I'm all for it. I would freaking dominate boxing DFS. I would love to do boxing DFS. I think it would be tremendous. I mean, you think about like MMA, where MMA is in terms of like financial growth. And yes, they're a massive company. Dana White sold it for $1 billion or whatever he sold it for. Boxing is still, in terms of money, still makes way more. The boxers, if you look at boxing, the biggest earners in the sport. I mean, Floyd Mayweather fought twice a year for 10 straight years, and him and Tiger Woods were 1 and 2 in terms of money made each and every year for athletes. Canelo Alvarez got $365 million contract, a TV deal to fight twice a year. So like, and this is my argument to DraftKings. There is so much money in boxing. You don't think that, the people who are gambling would also now come over and play DraftKings boxing? You don't think the people that are playing MMA would also dabble in? I mean, a lot of the MMA fans, their fandom stems from boxing because, boxing was obviously kind of the start of MMA. So, I mean, the foundation of MMA is clearly boxing. I mean, it's not the other way around. So, look, I'll start a petition right now. You get on board, you back it, I'm in. I mean, I don't see why there wouldn't be, and why they right now wouldn't be exploring that, because what else are they doing, right? I mean, what else could they possibly be doing except exploring all options? And with the amount of money that's in boxing, the infrastructure they already have in DFS scoring in MMA, I think boxing DFS makes all the sense in the world.
This is a whole other side of fandom I had no idea existed. Yep. This is what these shows are all about. The gears are grinding in my head right now, and I'm not even talking like Peter Griffin gears grinding or Homer Simpson. I'm talking like legit machinery, spacely sprockets kind of thing happening for some DFS boxing, some wager alarm stuff for boxing. All right. Now I know who I'm going to. Now I know. That's it. Sorry, Orion. Taking daddy from you for a little while. Let's talk about how you came about Fantasy Alarm, fantasy sports even. I mean, did you play fantasy baseball, fantasy football growing up? I mean, was that something active? Like, how did you get pulled into our wonderful, crazy world?
So, yeah, of course. My dad had a work league. I think they still have it, but he would always invite me out, and they would do the live drafts at a local bar, and, they would all get bombed. And there is nothing better in this world doing a draft live, period. Nothing else. Doing a live draft in a bar, or like just with the board, just where you can look at the board, the multicolored board. It looks fantastic, especially like when you're talking fantasy football. And shout out to Priest Holmes and Sean Alexander, that really got me going, because those were really my like introduction into the fantasy football world, where my dad and I, they kicked me out of the league because we took down the league 3 years in a row, and then they banned me from the league, and that kind of got the gears grinding, like doing like going off on my own and starting a bunch of leagues in fantasy baseball, fantasy basketball, all three of them all year round. I actually got introduced to Fantasy Alarm. I went to college at University of Albany, as I mentioned. A former employee of ours, Dom Murtha, also went to University of Albany, and I have known Dom since pretty much middle school. We went to the same middle school, high school, and then we both attended University of Albany. And one night I went over to his house where he lived with a bunch of people from our hometown, and he was in his room where everyone else was out and drinking. Everyone else was drinking in the living room, and I knocked on the door, and I was like, "Dude, what are you doing?"
Player notes.
And he was doing player notes in his bedroom, locked in, and I just kind of sat there with him, and I just for a little bit, because it's good to. I was talking to everyone, and being the extrovert that I am, and I went into Dom's room, and he was explaining what was going on, and then I watched what he was doing. The conversation kind of ended. Well, he reached out to me not too long after that and said, hey, man, like, you know, we've played fantasy sports together. I know you love everything about sports in general, fantasy sports. Would you be interested in, you know, coming on to the news and notes team? And I had seen what he had done, and he would show me all the third string offensive linemen that would respond to him on Twitter about him, all the bashing that he did of, you know, Joe Schmo, the Titans third string left tackle. And I thought it was pretty cool. So I said, yeah, I mean, that's something I'd be interested in. And you were in a different position at the time. I think Jeff and Ted were still in the company. I mean, going on for October is actually going to be 5 years with the company now. And, you know, I started with the news and notes team. Just notes, and then went to game wraps. And the game wraps, doing the 1 a.m. game wraps for NBA and MLB, that was for the baseball was tougher. I think the basketball was much easier for me because the baseball, especially when there was a baseball game that went into extra innings, and suddenly it's the 16th inning and it's 4 a.m. and you're like, well, now we're writing up 60 players because it's 13
I'm getting all
to 12.
nostalgic here.
It's 13 to 12, and 6 different players have 4 hits, and you know it's starters.
Dodgers Rockies in Colorado, 16 innings, and the final score is like 17 to 14.
And you're writing everyone up because there's 13 home runs. There's it's crazy. So the game wraps were definitely interesting, to say the least. And then I reached out to the team, and I got onto the news team, where I think I really, you know, I'll be a little braggadocious about it, but I think my work stood out on the news team. I covered a lot of shifts, and that's what kind of brought me to the site producer. And I guess my career has taken off from there, being the DFS for NBA and we've dabbled in MLB and NFL over the last 3 seasons now. So, I mean, it's been a journey, and you know, those talk about a grind at the beginning of it all, Howard. I mean, you know, after I left Albany, I was at home, and that's kind of when I was doing the notes. That's when I was doing notes, and it was notes and game wraps. There was no news team where, you know, little extra coin on the side there, you know. And I was working at a fitness center, and I was doing that, and you know, not to spill the beans, but you know, $150 a month wasn't, you know, it was tough. And I work, you know, talk about really grinding for a long time, and not just me. I mean, I know there are a bunch of us still on this team now that was in the same boat as I was. Matt, John, I mean, Reeland, Malin. I mean, we all took part in the notes team, and Howard, you know, I mean, somebody
was doing it before all
right,
you guys.
True. Amen to that. And I mean, it was really just, it was tough. But you know what? It all paid off in the end, and I couldn't be happier with where I am and where we are now, because like it's so different. Like it's in such a good way, so proactive. Like the company has been so proactive and so amazing. It's been an amazing journey, Howard. It really has.
It's been a phenomenal journey, and I've like, you know, working side by side with you guys on the notes team and pulling all those shifts. I think it's hysterical that on 3 separate live streams now, one with you, one with Cells, and one with Impemba, that each one of you has made the comment about the third string offensive lineman. That everybody was like, what the hell are we updating? Why are we putting fantasy analysis on the fact that they just cut the third string offensive lineman off of this team?
Probably not going to play again. Probably might find another team. Possibly. That's where you get the Twitter notification, like, come see me, dog. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. This is just my job. I'm sorry. It's nothing personal.
Right. Oh, please. It was unbelievable. Like pulling those shifts and doing all of that, and then jumping on the news. Yeah, listen, I love it, man. Fantasy Alarm's definitely come like a crazy long way. And I remember when I first started with the company, I was doing a weekly column. I was doing like a weekly closer piece during baseball season. I was doing like a weekly wide receiver column, and nothing like, nothing crazy. It was the weekly gig. And then all of a sudden, that's when, I asked about, increased positions, and they were like, well, this is what we're thinking about doing. And Fantasy Alarm had then just, we purchased Roto Info.
Right.
And that combined the two there. And so that's when the whole news and notes team popped up. And yeah, it consumed all of our lives there. I remember putting that schedule together, just being like, man, I'm on this schedule way too much right now. It's killing me. But all right, so I mean, listen, it was great. There's a big shout out to Dom Murtha, who went on to work on some other projects that he was interested in, and we loved having Dom there. And listen, if it wasn't for Dom, he wouldn't have brought me Babyface. How did you get that nickname? And is that sticking?
You just thought of it one day. I don't know when, but it was definitely prior to my debut, my radio debut. And I couldn't have been more nervous to go on the radio. And then on top of all of it, I am deemed Babyface going on, and my heart sunk into my socks. I was super nervous, very honored to have a nickname prior to even making my radio debut. I feel like LeBron didn't get the King just, going like before he was in the NBA. I mean, I'm in rare air here getting a nickname prior to even going on the radio. But it's kind of stuck. I mean, I will say you and Fensty really push it forward. Like you and Fensty push the Babyface all the time. Every time I'm on air with Fensty, it's James Babyface Grande. Every time I'm with you, it's James the _real _ Babyface.
Dude, can we talk about your Twitter handle here? I mean, look at it. I'm looking at it right here on the screen, and it's like an eye chart. It's so long. Like, come on.
Howard, go type in the Real Grande if you have your Twitter up. Type in the Real Grande.
All I do now is I type the @ symbol in Grande, and it just automatically puts you up there. So I don't even have to type in your name.
The Real Grande, the Twitter handle, hasn't tweeted since 2011. They have 3 tweets, and one of them says, "It's me, Ariana Grande." Like, you're not fooling anyone. Give up your gosh dang Twitter handle to me.
I finally got @Howard Bender to turn over his Twitter handle to me. I was very happy that he did that, and yet. Everybody I've talked to is like, no, just keep RotoBuzz guy. So just keep @the _real _ Grande. I've got that down to a science now, man. I'm hitting on that. I'm good. I appreciate that. Holy cow, is that long? Holy cow.
Look, I tried. Right? I mean, I'll send in another email to Twitter or another DM saying, hey, guys, can we talk about Sage Christian joined March 2011, 5 followers, no following, 3 tweets. Can we get rid of this guy or gal? This isn't the real Ariana, I swear. Maybe it was an Ariana burner account, though. You never know, I guess.
It could have been. According to Cheyenne, who's watching the live stream, she says just type @JG and it comes up. So
I actually changed my name, so you can't type JG anymore.
Oh, well, there you go. Way to disappoint Cheyenne.
Yeah, way to go. Well,
now, let's ask the question here, James, because I'll put you on the spot. Obviously, I'm the godfather of Orion. Obviously. I mean, that's just, come on, obviously. But who's the godmother? And is it Cheyenne?
We haven't announced a godmother. If Cheyenne is up for it, we'll have to put her through a series of tests, trials and tribulations. But I'm sure that she will pass with flying colors and ultimately become the godmother. So we'll pencil her in. We'll pencil her in as the godmother. Again, have to put her through the test. I mean, you went through it. You went through all the hoops, and you passed.
Which, by the way, I have to just add in the fact that if anything should happen to you and Bree, I don't want to have to raise the kid myself. So, as the godfather. It automatically defers to the godmother. I can't, diaper changes not for me. Talking to small children, not for me. And let's face facts. Now, here you go. You seem extraordinarily healthy right now, James. There's no coughing, no sneezing, no red eye or anything like that. Yeah. Wait till your kid starts going to daycare. Like, that's the thing. And I'm sure our illustrious producer, Matt Sells, can attest to it because he did on the live stream also. He said, I was the healthiest person in the world. I used to never get sick. And then I had kids.
I don't know about daycare, Howard. I think if all works out, I would like, if Bree can work from home, maybe we'll also, honestly, I don't know if Bree's ever going to be able to leave Orion. I mean, I was downstairs alone yesterday with Orion, and she was upstairs. And 3 minutes into quality time, I get a text. I look at my phone. It's Bree. How's he doing? I said, Bree, you've been gone for 3 minutes. So I'm not sure that daycare is in the cards because I don't think Bree will be able to handle it unless she sits at daycare with Orion the entire time. Then where is my money and where is our money going at that point?
Where is your money going at that point? Well, perhaps she was a little concerned with, where is it? Come on. Was it like a tweet and a reply? Who is Todd Dillerson? Can you just explain to me who the hell Todd Dillerson is right now?
So, if you've ever heard of, I don't know how familiar with the rap scene you are, Howard, but there is a rapper.
Obviously not very.
There is a rapper by the name of Lil Dicky, and his name is exactly what it sounds like. He talks about his small Johnson. That's what his shtick is. He is a kind of a comedic rapper, but he's very good. And he just came out with the show on Hulu. It's called Dave, and it's basically about his upbringing as a rapper. He's a white Jewish guy from Philly, and he's very funny. He's very good. And basically, there's another rapper, and in the show, he links up with a rapper called Ty Dolla $ign, and his roommate is his manager, so to speak. And he was talking about meeting up with Todd Dillerson, and Lil Dicky was like, "Who the hell is Todd Dillerson?" And he's thinking back, and he says, "You mean Ty Dolla $ign?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, Todd Dillerson, Ty Dolla $ign, same thing." So it was a very funny moment in the TV show. You had to be there. I will now exit stage left. This crickets.
I mean, well, you know what it is? You lost me at white Jewish rapper talking about his junk on a regular basis. Like, listen, those were all the jokes in Hebrew school when I was growing up. So, I mean, listen.
Nothing new.
No, I don't want to hear a rapper rapping about that now. That's no good.
Well, you can watch his TV show about it now.
I don't really think I want to see his TV show right now. Is that where it's at now for you at the household? Those are the shows you're watching? Come on. You got to be showing me that you're binge watching something of quality.
We are currently, other than that, we watched The Rookie with Nathan Fillion, a little cop TV show. I thought that was pretty good. And we are watching Jack Ryan currently. We just finished season 1 of Jack Ryan. That's first season was pretty dang good. Weird to see Jim Halpert in a non-Jim Halpert role, to be honest.
That is definitely...
It is very weird to see him not Jim Halpert. I still, during the whole season, I was like, Bree, look what Jim is doing. And his partner was Jim in the show. His partner, Bunk, from The Wire, is Jim. And I was like, and I kept saying, look at what Jim Halpert's doing. And Bree was like, no, that's Jack Ryan, the name of the show. And I was like, but I just can't get it out of my head. Like, Jim's always going to be Jim, Pam's always going to be Pam, and that's just kind of how it is.
And you're watching Jack Ryan, just expecting him to do something, and then just turn to the camera and just be like,
right. Every chance I get that there is just a pause in the action, I'm like, Jim, you in there? Right. Every single time.
Well, you know what? You being in Florida, I think that this is kind of right up your alley. Have you guys watched Tiger King yet?
No, and I don't think we're going to. And it's not. So I've heard nothing but good things about the show itself. And it's going to be Bree's decision if we watch it. I'll watch it. If she doesn't want to watch it, I will watch it. But from what we've heard, I don't think Bree wants to do. I don't think she wants to do the whole. I mean, is there a preview behind the curtain? I mean, is there animal cruelty, or is it just? It's a okay. Then I know what. Then I heard there may be.
There is a scene where they talk about euthanizing. But no, like you don't see that. You don't see any animal. There's no animal cruelty. No, it's more about the characters, the people, the fact that, those who are in the big cat industry obviously got some education while they were in prison about how lucrative the big cat industry is. And so then it's like all of this stuff about Joe Exotic and the character he is, and Carol Baskin, who's got the rescue in Florida, and it's murder for hire and absolute just bizarre characters. There is no, listen, you know me. I am a huge animal rights person. Right. I am a huge, huge animal lover. My wife, exactly the same. When my friend Chris called me and he said to me, you guys have to watch this show, and he started to explain it, I did the exact same thing as you. And I was like, well, wait, if you're telling me that there's going to be like animal cruelty or killing animals or anything like that on this show, I'm not interested. And he assured me that there wasn't, and I can give you that same assurance. They are whacked out of their minds. They are
totally worth it, though, huh?
It's totally worth it. It's like 7 or 8 episodes. I think it's 8 episodes. Totally worth it. Totally worth it.
I mean, we got nothing but time. So, I mean, once we finish season 2 of Jack Ryan, there's literally nothing else to do other than stare at each other, talk about our feelings, and talk to Orion while he screams in our face. So, I mean, we'll definitely give Tiger King a chance, because that's definitely reassuring, because I know, again, like I too love animals, but Bree seemed very turned off by the idea as soon as animals were brought into it, because, there's a lot of, without knowing what it actually is about, there's a lot of talk like about what it actually is, and she seemed very turned off, but definitely a good vouch.
100% vouch for it. 100% vouch for it. Ronas turned me on to Impractical Jokers. I don't know if you've ever watched that.
Great show. Great.
I'm in season 2 right now, and it's killing me.
It is fantastic.
Who's your favorite?
I think Murr. I think Murr is. I don't even think it's very close. I think Joe is the most savage of, like, Joe will do anything. He does not care. Murr, though, they pick on him the most, and I think that is the most fun to see him just get abused for countless number of seasons. My one question I've always had about that show, like, I mean, did you know about Impractical Jokers beforehand? Because, like, how do people not know about these dudes yet? They're 4 of, like, they're so famous, and they've been doing it for so long. Like, I feel like, somebody's gonna be like, yo, you're not getting me. I know what you guys are doing here. Like, did you not know? Like, if you just saw the 4 guys walking down the street, would you know who they were prior to watching the show?
Not in a million years.
Interesting.
Not in a million years. I had no idea who they were.
That's funny, because, like, to me, it's just like, it's still, because I don't even know what season they're on now. They've been doing it for so long. And to me, I'm just so amazed by people just not knowing who these guys are. But it's great. I mean, I can't believe how long they've been doing it, and they continue to come up with just fantastic content. And you're only on season 2. It only gets better. I haven't seen the movie, though. They just came out with some movie, and I need to watch the movie.
I just saw the episode where the final punishment was Murr on the lie detector on stage in front of his high school. And he had to answer the question of whether or not he had the crush on his old Spanish teacher, who was actually like standing right there during the whole thing. Listen, when Rhoda started telling me about it, I started watching it. So Rhoda's favorite is Joe. Your favorite is Murr. My favorite is Sal. I mean, if we just take Mpemba and we get Mpemba to just be on board with the with B&Q, then I think an FSGA event. I'm in. Four of us need to start doing some stuff.
I got my bags, and my masks and my gloves packed right now because you don't want, if you want to go right now, I'll pack.
I don't want to do it right now. What I want to do is I want to stay indoors and be on lockdown like I'm supposed to do.
I agree.
So I'm not spread the virus.
100% agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Only time I'm leaving is for work. But I agree. But I'm chomping at the bit now that you brought this up. We're about in practical. I was trying to think of a name. Not going to go there. We all know that my titles for things haven't been the best in the past. So I stopped myself before we get any further. We will talk about titles off air. For the millions around the world still watching, I don't want to embarrass myself in front of all of them.
Oh, you know what? We appreciate that for the time being, of course. But once we do kick it off, I think the four of us can have a whole lot of fun with that, indeed. Before we sign off for the day, Cheyenne wants a funny new parent diaper changing story. Do you have one yet? I mean, listen, you might not have one yet.
No, I haven't had one yet. I've knock on wood. Nothing around. I haven't had anything crazy. I mean, he has pooped on Brie. He has peed on Brie. I guess one time, I guess this is the only, the funniest moment. This was right when he was born, brought him home. It's not a poop, but I was changing him. And I lifted up his legs a little bit, and he started to pee, and he peed all over Brie. Yeah,
the arc.
He got the arc. It was Orion's arc right onto Brie. So that was probably the funniest moment. I laughed first, then asked if Brie needed anything. That's just, I probably should have done the other way around. I should have been like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Do you need me?" Then laughed. I instead laughed first. Then said, "I'm sorry, do you need me?" Won't happen again. But that's probably the funniest moment I've had.
You guys are all going to make a lot of mistakes. Everybody does. Sure. No doubt about it. Oh, man. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here today. James, dude, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us. I know you're got a crazy schedule now dealing with everything, but, man, to make time for us here today, man, we really appreciate it.
I got nothing but time, Howard. I appreciate you bringing me on, and I'm looking forward to those Wager Alarm boxing, those boxing.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, man, it's Impractical Jokers, it's fantasy boxing. Big plans, baby.
Big plans.
Big plans, huge, boom, bigger than Todd Dillerson's.
And his name is Lil Dicky, so.
And I'll end it on that note there. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Again, if you're new to these, listen, subscribe to the Fantasy Alarm page on YouTube. Go to YouTube, type in Fantasy Alarm in the search box there, and give us subscribe to us there. Obviously, it's free. You get a look at all of these videos, all the Meet the Family ones. If you're checking us out on Twitter at Fantasy Alarm, give us a follow. And of course, we've got a Facebook page as well, where all of these air. So really appreciate you guys jumping into this with us. Big thanks to James Babyface Grande for doing the work here. Big thanks to Matt Sells for producing. And we'll catch you next time.